What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel, Real Talk Recovery, where we talk about recovery from addiction and I share my life with you. My name's Nicole and I'm an addict. My sobriety date is July 13th of 2015. And tonight we're talking about triggers. And so I was sitting here and I was thinking, triggers, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Triggers, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? So, what's up, guys? Um, here you are again, Sam. What's up, Alan? Hey, Nicole. Hey, hi at last. Hey, Misty. Hey, guys. Hey, Cindy. How's everybody doing? So, just so you guys know, I'm planning a really fun live stream Saturday night. Let me mute this. Okay. I'm planning a really cool live stream Saturday night. I've reached out to a couple other YouTubers that are in recovery, and we are going to do a video Saturday about all the crazy shit we did in active addiction, and it's going to be hilarious. So, what we're going to do is, like, the first guest is going to be Michelle, and I know a lot of you guys know who Michelle is. Michelle has a channel called Amputated from Addiction, and her story is fucking gnarly. She ended up having to get her hand, basically her hand all cut up. So she has like a little claw. That's all she has, is like a little claw like this on one hand, and then her regular hand. So it's like this. She calls herself the one-handed wonder. And she can joke around about it because she's sober today. But the reason she had to get her hand amputated was from her addiction. So hence the name Amputated from Addiction. Before, when I first met her, her channel was called My Heroin Addiction, the Good, the Bad, and the Bloody. And it was all about her and her active addiction. It was really sad, you guys. But she's cleaned up. She's working like in the field with recovering addicts, and she's killing it. So she's going to come on first Saturday night and share about all the crazy shit she did in her active addiction, okay? Next, I hopefully Nick from Hopeless to Hopeful will come on after that. And then LT, I'm going to reach out to LT from Recovering Addict. And I reached out to Jeff from Grind and Shine Recovery. And I reached out to Splinter from Prison POV. And so I'll have a couple different, like, points of view from different kinds of addicts. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Robbie. What's up, bub? So we should have a whole all kinds of crazy stories for y'all to be like, damn. You know what I mean? So, okay. If for those of you guys that are new and that are just making it to my channel and you're like, oh my God, what's this crazy girl doing? My name's Nicole and I'm an addict, and I started this channel like 2 years ago. And when I first started it, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just making videos. I was just walking around with my phone, talking about recovery and talking about my life. And after a couple of bumps in the road, I kind of found my way and decided that I wanted to have a channel all about recovery from addiction and help people find sobriety, no matter what pathway that is, whether it's a pathway on maintenance, whether you're abstinent, whether you're a religious person, whatever your path to recovery is. I support you on that. And so I wanted to have a place where people could come and hang out, and it would be like an open-minded, non-judgmental recovery channel. And that's what we do here on my channel. So since all the coronavirus stuff, we have started to do, or I have started to facilitate every single night. We're having a meeting at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time every night. And I haven't missed one yet. So we're going hard. How many days in a row is this, y'all? This is like, we're doing good. I haven't missed a day, which I'm really proud of myself, because every night at about 6:30, I'm like, damn, I could just lay here in bed. I could just chill and not even get up and do it. And then I'm like, no, the people are there and they need it. We need it. We need it. So, and every time I come on and do a video, you guys, I feel so much better. So I go ahead and do it and I always feel better. I know you know what I'm talking about. Like if you've ever been one of those people who's like, I don't want to go to this meeting, but I know I have to. And then you go and you're like so happy that you went. That's what it's like. So anyway, we were talking earlier today about the crazy stuff we did when I was in active addiction. And I was telling you guys some crazy stories, right? And I was asking y'all what y'all wanted to talk about tonight, and y'all said y'all wanted to talk about triggers. And Hyatt Last had said that he's especially struggling with triggers because he's just gotten paid. And man, I'm telling y'all what, one of the biggest triggers for me was boredom and cash money. Okay, so throughout my addiction, I would always have jobs where I was making straight cash, like working, I was waiting tables or bartending. So I always had like straight cash, you know what I'm saying? And so as fast as I got that cash, it just flew right out of my hand on pills. And so when I got sober, I had to find a way to get a job and get gainfully employed, but to not just have cash money flowing into my hands all the time. You know what I mean? And so what I ended up doing was getting a job outside of the restaurant business, because the restaurant business for me was just not healthy. I couldn't do it, y'all. It was out of control. I was doing the restaurant business and I was snorting lines of cocaine in the back with the cooks. I was smoking dope in the bathroom. I was drinking alcohol while I was bartending. It was a hot mess express. Hey, Sam, all the people that have wrenches are actually people that have joined my Patreon, and what they do with their wrenches is it's just like a moderator thing. So what they do is they kind of like, let's say somebody came in that was just being like so nasty and cussing everybody out, right? The moderators would time him out. And then let's say he came back in and he started cussing everybody out again. Then they would kick him out and then he wouldn't be able to get back in. So they're troll beaters. Jamie, what's up, girl? Where you been? Jamie, we have been popping, locking, and dropping over here on Real Talk Recovery, girl. You have been missing out. I hope we missed you, girl. Y'all remember Jamie? I know Misty does. Cindy, you remember Jamie? Sorry about that. Okay. Hey, Jay. So, okay, let's get back to it. Sorry about that, you guys. So, patrons are my moderators. So, we have about 24, 25 patrons, you guys. And what Patreon is it's just a way to support my channel. I'm sure you guys have heard other YouTubers talk about Patreon. It's a subscription where you pay X amount of dollars a month and you get content in a private area from me. So like if you want to join that, you can always join my Patreon. It's cheap. I'm just like, anyways, let's get back to the triggers. Okay, so the number one thing that I had to find out and I had to learn, you guys, was how to identify what was triggering thoughts inside of me. Okay, so the way that I was taught about the disease process, I was taught this probably like in 2000 and my first treatment center I went to, I think was in 2005. And so I learned this real early, okay? And I've learned it, I've known it for ever since then. The way that it was taught to me is that the disease of addiction it goes in a circle. It's like a vicious cycle, right? And so it starts out, your vicious cycle, your addiction starts out with a trigger, okay? And so if we can identify our triggers and know, kind of what tips us over the edge or what gets us thinking about drugs and alcohol, then that's kind of like, that's the beginning of the battle, So when I first tried to get sober, I was like, I have no idea what my triggers are. Like, I don't even know if a trigger exists. Like, especially since I had no idea about the disease. I was just kind of like, I thought addiction. Okay, well, when you first get sober and you're like trying to listen to what everybody is telling you, right? And you're like trying to take responsibility for your addiction, but then you're also trying to learn about how to like identify things that maybe are making you think about drugs. Like, and so you're like, well, it's all my fault. I was still like in this headspace where like I was just blaming myself for everything, which, yes, I take responsibility for the things that I did when I was in my active addiction. But I also had to learn that I was like sick and I was in my addiction. I was in my disease. My brain was sick. And so I didn't know how to understand or pick out or identify triggers. Well, the way that it was taught to me is that a trigger is something that it could be something you see, it can be something you hear, it can be something you feel, it can be something you smell, it can be an internal trigger, it can be an external trigger. And we talked about this a couple of videos back, okay? And so an internal trigger would be something like your emotions, right? Like feeling happy, sad, angry, fear. Okay, those are all internal triggers. Okay, and then external triggers could be things like driving past the liquor store or seeing a bottle of pills or hearing. One of the things that used to always like really make me go woo was when I would hear a bottle of pills shake in somebody's purse. I could hear the pills knocking back and forth. I would be like, hot damn, that's pills, Um, it was so bad that I could probably tell you what kind of pills they were. Like, I was so freaking crazy, y'all. Those are zero point 0.5 Xanax. Not really, but you know what I'm saying. So there's triggers, external and internal. All right. So if I was you, I would write down external and internal triggers. And then what you can do is you can write down your triggers that you struggle with. Okay, so one of the biggest things that affected me is especially when I first got sober, was nothing to do, no plan of action, straight bored, just chilling, sitting in my room at the halfway house with nothing to do. Okay, what am I going to do? And so my mind would just start wandering off. I mean, I didn't have any experience staying sober, so the only thing my mind would think of was what it was like when I was high. I mean, think about it, you guys. If you don't have experience staying sober, then your mind is going to go to what it has experience in. Your mind is going to remember what the last things it was doing was. If the last thing you were doing was getting high, right? Then you're going to be thinking about getting high. So when you get sober, you have to relearn and shape your mind and make new fresh memories, fresh memories and new things to do that are going to help you stay clean and sober. Okay, like going to meetings, hanging out with sober people, coming here and hanging out with us for the 7 o'clock meetings and getting to know everybody in the chat. Like, these are ways that you're going to learn how to cope that you normally wouldn't have done. You normally would have just went out and copped some dope. Okay, so once you can identify your triggers, then you can start like really breaking it down and working on them. So boredom, one of the main triggers that I think a lot of us struggle with. And so what can we do to fight the trigger of boredom? Okay. Well, first thing that I was taught when I was in treatment and when I went to intensive outpatient therapy, to plan out my days. Okay. Now, I know you guys are probably going to be like, plan your days out. I'm not even lying to you. Like, literally go out and buy a calendar or a planner or whatever you want to call it, okay? And each day, break it down by the hours. If you wake up at 8 a.m., then you need to have a plan for 8 a.m. Because when you're coming off drugs and you've never lived your life sober without drugs, then guess what? The moment you wake up, it's like your mind goes into autopilot. It's like muscle memory. Your mind takes you back to getting high. Your mind is like, oh, it's 8 o'clock. We gotta find a way to get dope. Okay. So when you get up in the morning, each day you need to have a plan every hour on the hour. And that might seem like a lot, but whenever you're newly sober, it's going to come in handy. I promise. Um, I don't plan my hours out now, but I used to, because if I didn't, let me give you an example of what happened if I didn't plan my hours out. So let's say it was like a Wednesday and I had to be in at work at like noon, okay? And I didn't have anything planned from 8 o'clock in the morning till noon. I was just hanging out the house until it was time for me to go to work. What would usually happen in between the time I went to work, 8 o'clock, and the time I went to work, is something would pop up. Some old friend would call, somebody would show up at my house, and then I would go off the grid. I would be with that person getting high or hanging out with that person, doing something I wasn't supposed to be doing, being around people that were using. And even if I wasn't using, you guys, okay, I was still putting myself in a compromising situation. Okay, no good. So plan your days out, even if you have to plan them by the hour. The best thing you can do if you're struggling with being bored and you're like, I can't do this, I'm overwhelmed, plan your days, okay? Once you can learn how to plan your days and you're filling your whole days up, as long as you stick to that plan, there's not going to be a lot of room for like mess ups, because you're going to be staying on track. You're going to be following through with your program. You're going to be doing the damn thing. Money. Let's talk about money being a trigger, because I know you were talking about that high at last. Money being a trigger. If you have money and it's a trigger, put it somewhere where you can't spend it. Okay? Pay your bills and go get a savings account and put it in a savings account. So that way, the only way you can get it out is if you literally drive down to the bank to get it out. Or give it to a family member and say, don't give this to me unless it's for food or for my bills. Have somebody else hold your money, especially in early sobriety, you guys. You don't want to. Y'all wanted me to tell y'all something? My husband, he is the world's worst for taking money out of the bank account and spending it on dope, especially back in the day. And so since we've both gotten sober, I take money out of our account and I put it in a savings account. And guess what? His name's not on the savings account, so he can't get to it. So it's safe. And that money is there, and no matter what, if there's a problem, if something happens and we need emergency funds, guess what? We got money and it's safe, right? Find somebody you trust, okay, that you can give your money to, that will hold your money. Get yourself a payee, okay? And I'm telling you, you can find somebody, you can send that money to me and I'll put it in my bank account and I'll dole it out to you as you need it. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I understand why that would be a struggle, because I mean, what else did we do with our money? Here's another way to deal with money as a trigger. Okay? If you can't find somebody to give it to and you just can't get it out of your possession no matter what, right? Let's say you just don't have no family, you don't have any friends. The bank account thing, the putting it in the savings account where you have to drive up there and withdraw it, it just puts that barrier in between you. So you would literally have to go up to the bank, withdraw all the time, right? Brad, because I wasn't in active addiction. I was sober and my husband was too. But he relapsed and took money out of our bank. I never had a bank account in my active addiction. Are you kidding me? There was no way. I've never had a bank account in active addiction. I actually, one time I had checks, and you know what happened? I wrote so many hot checks. They were bouncing all over Hot Springs, Arkansas. It was bad. Um, so okay. The money. That's what I was talking about. Money. Um, Another thing to help you with like that trigger and just with triggers in general is when you have a thought, when you get a trigger and you're triggered and then you start thinking about using. Have you guys ever heard of the saying, play the tape all the way through? I'm sure you have. Playing the tape all the way through. Okay. So when you have that tape, the tape is the tape that of the actions that you would go through. Okay. Let's say you just got paid and you have a fat check, right? And you're thinking, oh man, I could go out and get high today, right? Play the tape all the way through. What's going to happen when you get high? You know, you're going to get high, you're going to have that temporary relief, and then you're going to feel like shit. Then you're going to be on the other side of it, and you're going to be like, my life sucks. Why did I do this? Why did I do that? Right? And so one of the things I think a lot of us struggle with, you guys, right, is that we don't want to ask anybody else for help and we want to handle everything on our own. And that's like one of the things that we have to learn how to do in recovery is pocket our pride and reach out for help. Okay. Jay, I understand what you're saying, but here's the thing, man. Then give it to somebody to hold it, and don't, and tell them not to give it to you. Not to give it to you. Okay? Here's the thing, you guys. It can be a trigger, and that's fine, but you can talk about it and you can tell people, you know, when I have lots of money, it makes me feel uncomfortable. It makes me want to go out and get high. It makes me think about wanting to use. And keep talking about that. Keep telling people, you know, money makes me feel uncomfortable. I get bored and I don't have anything to do with myself, right? Find things to do. Find positive people to hang out with. Find people that are sober that you can come be with and that you can tell how you're feeling and you can say, this is what I'm going through and this is why I'm struggling. Okay? Don't sit alone with your thoughts because that's what we always do. We sit alone with our thoughts. We sit alone after we're triggered, right? And we just, oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to be strong, right? I'm going to be strong and I'm just going to will that relapse away. Okay? You have to be strong and ask for help and talk to somebody. One of the things that's helped me so much is to just be able to talk to people, to be able to process through what I'm feeling and how what I'm going through. And I've gotten to a point, you guys, in my sobriety where when I have those thoughts and I think about wanting to get high, because I do, I thought about wanting to get high last week. I was laying in my bed. I was depressed. I was fucking mad because I was on lockdown and I can't leave the damn house because of this stupid coronavirus.
Mom, I'm hungry.
Well, then tell your daddy to come down here and get you something to eat. He knows I'm doing a meeting.
Daddy!
Because of this damn coronavirus, and I was depressed, and I was laying in bed, and I was like, this sucks. What am I going to do, you know? And I thought, wow, I could do this, and then it could relieve some stress. And I would be like, oh, okay, I feel great now. Okay, what about when your best friend is the plug? Jay, that's not your best friend, baby. You need to get him out of your life or her out of your life or whatever. Your best friend isn't going to sell you death in a bag. Your best friend isn't going to watch you get high and overdose in their house. Your best friend isn't going to set you up for failure when they know you're trying to get sober. That's not a friend at all. And see, I'm not trying to be ugly, but I had to learn that too. Those people are not your friends. And baby, I promise you, when you get sober, if they don't get sober, they won't be anywhere around because that's exactly what happened here. All the people that I thought were my friends that I was getting high with, guess what? They're nowhere to be found, honey. I haven't seen those people in 5 years. The plug, you're paying his rent. You're paying his car payment. All right? That's not your friend.
I don't know yet.
That is not your friend. Don't believe that for a second. That's anybody who is selling you dope is not your friend. All right? That's like, I'm sorry, I don't want you to be upset, and I know that might be like a reality check, but that's the same way I felt. I thought those people that I was hanging out with were my friends. But you know what else happened? Whenever something bad would happen and I would be hurting or under the influence or going to the hospital, none of those people would be around. All those people would just drop me off on the side of the road. If I went into an overdose, guess what those people would do? They wouldn't wake me up. They wouldn't take me to the hospital. They'd leave me on the concrete to die. That's not a friend. You know, you don't want those people in your life. You can do better than that. And there's chicken. Get those popcorn chickens I made you.
They're on the top.
Heat them up in the microwave. I'm not going to, Nate, I bought you a meal. Now go eat your meal that I bought you.
What was after this?
Daddy's heating it up for you.
What do I have for after?
Roll you right out of the car. Yes.
Nay. Chicken, honey mustard.
And you know what? Sometimes when I think back to that time, you guys, I think back and I think how delusional could I have been to think those people were my friends? You know,
Yeah.
they didn't give a care about me,
What?
you know? And here's the thing. If you were friends with that person and you guys were friends before you got into your addiction, then they will understand when you get sober and they won't come around you until they get sober. If they truly respect you and your recovery and you're sober, they will not come around you. Okay? And you won't want to go around them. You won't want to have them around. Okay? You won't want to be around people that are getting high. It's not going to make you feel good. It's not going to make you feel, you're not going to want it. You're going to be like, get away from me. Like, I'm trying to do something with my life, right? Hey, Hillbilly family. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, listen, you guys, I hung out with the same girl for like 7 years, and she still calls me to this day because she still wants to hang out with me. But I know that if me and her get together, even though I'm sober, it is not going to be it's not going to be good because she's going to end up pulling me into her addiction. She will pull me down with her, you know? I'm sorry. I just get so upset sometimes. I get heated whenever people think that those are their friends because I have real friends today. I have friends that actually care about my son. They care about my family. They call to check on me, not when they just need something, you know. They don't just call me whenever it benefits them. They don't just call me when they want to smoke a blunt or they want to come to the house and get high because they have nowhere else to get high. They actually care about me as a person. They care about my safety and my well-being. You know, that's what true friends are, you guys. And here's the thing, like when you're in active addiction, like listen, I was the same way. I had all kinds of friends that were like that. But what do I expect? What do we expect, right? We're getting high. Why would we have healthy friendships? Why would we have healthy relationships? Of course that shit's toxic, right? It's toxic. It's a toxic relationship. Not anymore, Staten Island, but I used to smoke blunts every day. I mean, y'all got to know I was on it, on everything. The reason why I don't smoke blunts today is because, well, I have a son and he's 5 years old and he mimics everything I do. So I can imagine if I was smoking blunts, he would probably want to smoke a blunt too. So I just don't do it. And plus, when you're on the maintenance medication, Suboxone, they drug test me. And so if I was to fail for marijuana, you guys, they would kick me out of the program. And I'm trying to get down to a point where I'm completely off. So I'm actually down to 2 milligrams, and I'm working like slowly but surely to taper off. But I want to make sure that I don't rush, and I don't want to ruin my chances of like just being successful. So I'm just taking it slow. Okay. I'm taking it slow, and I'm just taking it one day at a time. I don't worry what anyone else says about my sobriety and my journey in recovery, because for a long time that used to trigger me. Okay. What other people thought I should be doing triggered the fuck out of me. I was like so worried about what everybody else thought, Thanks for the vids. 5 years Klonopin, 0.25 daily, 6 months off, horrible head tension, dizziness. Hey, Dr. Dreamer, do I think it'll resolve over time? I'm not a doctor, and this is not medical advice, but I just want you to know that give it some time. You're on the road. It will get better. I promise it will get better. I cannot tell you how long it will take because every person is different, but your life will get better. Just keep on pushing forward, okay? You guys, with benzodiazepines, it can take anywhere from 6 months to 2 years. I've heard some people have struggled for longer than that. And I'm not saying that to scare you. And I don't. Listen, if you're on here and you're going through withdrawal, do not go and look up other people's withdrawals. Do not go and look up other people's videos about that, because what will happen is you will watch their videos about those withdrawals. And then guess what will happen? You will start taking on their symptoms. It's like a psychosomatic thing. Believe me, okay? Believe me. Do not watch other people's experience coming off these medications. Do not fill your head with that shit. You are your own person. This is your personal experience. You cannot compare yourself to anybody else, okay? Jay! Do I look like I am? Shit. If I was, I wouldn't be on here every night at 7. I'd be passed out with a pizza in my lap. Yeah, totally does. And I have had so many people, you guys, that they like will reach out and just call and talk to me, and the first thing they say out of their mouth, guess what it is? I was watching somebody on YouTube who said they didn't get well until 7 years. Or I was watching somebody on YouTube who said they threw up every day for 2 years, and now I'm throwing up every day for 2 years. Do not watch other people on YouTube and their symptoms, okay? Just trust the process, okay? If you're alive and it's been 6 months, keep on kicking ass and taking names. You're doing great. Okay, so keep on. I feel like my stomach's tight. You know what that is, Dr. Dreamer? It's probably just your body trying to regulate and get and find its own way of coping with anxiety, because that tightness and breath thing sounds like anxiety, and so your body is just trying to get back to that place where it can cope without the medication, so just try to do some meditation, maybe some yoga and some breathing exercises. Hey Esther, what's up, girl? So okay, let me get back on track. Y'all know how I am. I get what is it called? Distracted. Okay. So let's talk about so we talked about the trigger of money. We talked about boredom. So that's snitching on your addiction, telling about what you're going through, okay? So for some reason, you guys, before I got sober this last time, I was always struggling to talk about what I was going through. I don't know if it's because I was embarrassed or I felt a lot of shame, but I would not talk about it. And that really held me back. Okay? Like, please, please, if you're listening to me right now, I want you to listen to me real good. I really, really fucked up and didn't get on with recovery because I wouldn't open up and say how I was feeling in the inside, right? I wouldn't talk about what was going on. I would keep it all bottled up inside. And then you know what would happen? I would bottle it up inside, and it's like this. When for a lot of addicts and just for people in general, when you keep bottling stuff up inside, right? You're pushing it down, you're pushing it down, you're pushing it down. I want you to close your eyes, okay? And I want you to imagine a volcano, okay? And that lava is just bubbling and it's bubbling and it's bubbling and it's coming up to the top, right? That's what it's like when you're pushing down all your feelings, what you're thinking of, the struggles, the shame, the guilt, and you're pushing it down, and then that lava's, and it's about to bust. And then you pop, pop, like a fucking Coke. Like a Coke when you shake it up and you take the lid off and it blows up. That's what happens when you have been just and acid reflux, that too. It's just like acid reflux. But that's what it's like. They call it an emotional barometer. Okay. And so think of it this way. Okay. Let me draw it for you. Okay. I have to do these little examples. Y'all know this, plus it helps me too. Okay. So this is a barometer. All right. It looks like a penis. What the hell, Nicole? This is a barometer, okay? And these are the little measurement lines on the side, okay? Let's say this bottom level right here is just like, it's just like you're regular, okay? You're just chilling. You ain't got a lot of anxiety. You're just hanging out, laying low, right? And you raise it up to here and you're just a little annoyed. Maybe you got into an argument with your mom and dad. Maybe somebody at work didn't follow through with their part of the job and you had to pull up and you had to do their work. Okay. So you're at this point right here where you're kind of agitated. Okay. This is your emotional barometer. And then you go up here. Okay. You were driving to work in the morning. Somebody pulled out in front of you. You had straight up road rage. Okay. And then you go up here. You came home from work. Your wife done spent all the money in the bank account. You want to beat a bitch's ass. Then you're up here. Okay, the bills are late. You don't know how you're going to pay the rent. Shit's just falling apart. Okay, and you just keep on letting it build and build and build up that barometer until what happens? It just starts spewing out of the top. Okay, and that's what those emotions just keep tacking on, one on top of the other, on top of the other. And if you're not talking about it, if you're not telling anybody, I'm drawing Dick Scroll. If you're not telling anybody or talking to anybody, you guys, it doesn't matter who it is, okay? It could be anybody. It could be your friend, it could be your parent, it could be, hopefully it's somebody that understands that you have an addiction. I would hope that you could be honest with them. That's the main thing. I think that if you can find somebody that you can talk to that knows that you have struggled with addiction in the past and that you're sober now, or that you're trying to get sober, and you can be 100% honest with them. Find one person that you can tell everything to, right? And use that person to just vent to, so that way you don't get to this point where you're just blowing up. Even now, like in my recovery, I still do this. Okay. I will let things I'll just let things bottle up and bottle up and bottle up and bottle up. Right. And I know better than to do that. And that's a recipe for a disaster. Okay. A recipe for disaster, you guys. If you can process through that shit, come in here, type it in the chat, let everybody know I'm fucking up today, or I'm pissed off, or so and so did this to me. 9 times out of 10, if you come in here during our 7:00 meeting and you're going through something and you say something in the chat, you're going to have like 5 or 6 people on there that say, we're here for you. We understand what you're going through. We've been there too. Okay. Because we all have been there, you guys. There's no, I think what happens too with us, you guys, and I know because I was the same way. So you got to remember everything I'm saying, you guys, I've done it. Okay. So I'm not just like trying to tell you guys, like I'm sharing with you guys from my personal experience. I feel like what happens with a lot of us is that, or with me, it's like, how do I say this? It's like I want to tell everybody, right? I want to share what I'm going through, but then there's this like little voice in the back of my head that tells me I can't tell anybody. Well, you better go. You're going to be all right. Hope after dope, Scott. You're going to be all right. I don't know what it is about. I don't know why it's so daunting to like open up to somebody else about what you're going through, or why it can be like an overwhelming feeling. I know that whenever I first started sharing about how I was feeling, I was nervous, right? But having a YouTube channel, like I share everything on here, and it has saved my life because I can come on here and I can show you guys everything and tell you guys everything. Hey, Dr. Dreamer, man, I would not advise. I would not. I wouldn't do it. But I'm not, like I said. If I were you, I would consult my physician, ask your doctor what they think, and then go from there. But I mean, as long as you don't have benzodiazepines in your system anymore, I mean, if you're a person who drinks a beer at dinner, I suppose that that's okay. But I can't drink beer because then I'm going to drink 17 beers, and then I'm going to have a gallon of vodka, and then I'm going to get some um, um, E&J VSOP, and then I'm going to get some nasty ass, oh, freaking big bottle of the cheap vodka. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't suggest it. You know what I'm saying? Skunk pee. Hey, Alicia, what's up, girl? We're just talking about beer and how it tastes like skunk pee. Honestly, Dr. Dreamer, I wouldn't advise for anybody to drink because I don't drink. And so I know how quickly somebody who has had substance abuse problems can have a drink and maybe go overboard. So I don't drink, so I don't tell anybody else to drink. So you have to make that decision on your own. This quarantine has made my kids act like toddlers. I totally understand, Captain. I totally understand. But listen to me, you guys. Like, let me tell you guys a story, okay? One time, I'm going to share it with you guys a story. It's about drinking, okay? So you guys know that I was addicted to like narcotics, okay? I was addicted to cocaine and methamphetamine and opiates. And I ended up getting arrested for possession of a controlled substance, which was methamphetamine. And I got put on a probation for 3 years. And during that first year of probation, I was really trying to figure out a way that I could still get fucked up and pass the drug test. So it started out, I was like, I know I can't smoke weed because I cannot get weed out of my system quick enough to get clean for a drug test. So I knew that was off the table. So I went and I got myself a legal prescription for Klonopin. And I was like, I can do this. I can do this. I can take this Klonopin and I can get my system cleaned out in no time, right? Wrong. Failed my drug test for Klonopin. Even though it was prescribed, guess what she had me do? She had me bring the bottle in so she could count it. And guess where they were all? They were all in my stomach. They were all gone. So that shit went out the window real quick. Okay. It's a benzodiazepine. It's like a Xanax, Sky. Then I thought, okay, well, that's not flying. And I can't do meth because that's why I'm here, because I got a charge for meth. So I'm going to drink. So I was working at a bar. I was actually a a bartender and the assistant manager of a really nice restaurant downtown Hot Springs. And so I was like, fuck it, I'll just drink. Okay. I was drinking every single day. I was drinking in the morning until the evening, until I passed out, until I got off work. I would get off work. I would get alcohol. I would be at work. I would be drinking alcohol. Okay. And I quickly became a fucking alcoholic to where I couldn't get up without needing to drink because I would shake violently if I didn't have a drink. Okay. And so I went in to see my probation officer, and she has noticed that I was struggling, that I was smelling like alcohol, that I was still failing my drug tests, and she sent me to rehab. Okay. And so I went to rehab and I got off the alcohol. But ever since that day, I've always drank to get drunk. But I never got to a point where I could not stop drinking until that time. Until it felt like the only thing I could do was drink. So that's what I was doing. And so I've been through these stages where I felt like I needed to stop doing one substance so I would start doing another substance. And so that's why on my channel, when I talk with you guys, like, I don't drink because I will drink, and I will drink to get drunk. I cannot go to the 4th of July and have one mixed drink, because what happens for me when alcohol goes into my body is it triggers off this like obsession. Okay. It triggers off to the point where I was shitting I would shit diarrhea from not having alcohol. Okay. I would wake up in the mornings and I would literally shake. Okay. I would have to drive down to the gas station and get a 40. Okay. A 40 or a deuce. I swear to God, every single morning I was drinking those things. And I thought I was a high-end beer connoisseur. So I was drinking like, I was drinking the Mexican beers. I was drinking the Blue Moon. I was drinking the Amber Bock. I was drinking the Modelo Especial. Like, I had this thing for like these deep kind of like weedy, deep kind of like deep tasting beers, dark beers. And so, but I was drinking hard liquor with that. Like, I was drinking a lot of vodka and this VSOP. I know y'all know what I'm talking about. E&J VSOP. That shit, I would drink it with fucking ice cold Mountain Dew. Let me tell y'all a story about E&J VSOP. I'm telling y'all, I always drank. Okay. I always struggled with alcohol. Always. But when I found meth, I was like, fuck alcohol. You know what I mean? But I had started out with alcohol. That's how my whole addiction started, was with alcohol. Then I moved to marijuana. Then I moved to cocaine. Then I moved to methamphetamine. Okay. Then I moved to opiates. Alcohol. How I started out with alcohol and what E&J of VSOP. Okay. Me and my girlfriends would go to this club called 5101. It was in Hot Springs, Arkansas. And we would go to this club and we would fucking pop, lock it, and drop it until the sun came up. I was there at this club from midnight till 5 a.m. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay. We were there all the time. Was it Friday, Saturday? No, Friday, Saturday. Okay. We were there until the club would shut down. Okay. So every night on Fridays and Saturdays when we would go to this club, first of all, let me tell y'all what I would wear. I always had on like these little black pants that like kind of bell bottomed out at the bottom. So and then I had this little tube top thing that was like a butterfly, but it had sequins on it. And then it crossed in the back with just ties. So my back was all open. Y'all don't understand. No, the club was called 5101, girl. 5101. Do you not remember it? 5101. So anyway, Club 5101, and we would go there, and we would be there till 5 o'clock in the morning. Well, me and my friend Miranda and my friend Sonia would go, and we would get these that size of E&J VSOP. It's a brown like whiskey, okay? And we would get it ice cold, okay? We would get that ice cold VSOP, and then when we would get that Mountain Dew, okay? And we would drink yes, my son. You go talk to your daddy about it. Don't come down here.
Not gonna get it.
But Nathaniel, your dad knows that I'm doing my class, my meeting right now.
Mom, that doesn't need.
What do you need, son?
What do you
Go talk to your dad. I would take that and I would drink that whole cold thing, ice cold. It had to be ice cold because if it wasn't ice cold, then I would be losing my. And so I would down that and then I would take that Mountain Dew. And so every night I would walk in completely sober. But by the time I walked out of there, you guys, I couldn't even walk a straight line. And then I would get in my car and drive. And it was so crazy. Like, I think back to that time, you guys, and I think, I can't believe I drove. I cannot believe I made it. Okay. I could have died. I could have killed my friends. Okay. I was the one who drove everywhere. And I had all my girlfriends in the car with me. Sonia, Miranda, Nikki, everybody in my car driving under the influence. Staten Island, you are so hilarious. What? What, Nate? What? What do you want? You just ate dinner with your daddy.
I mean drink.
What do you want?
Milk.
Hold on, let me grab Nate some chocolate milk, you guys. You know what? You and your daddy, I don't know why y'all do this to me. Y'all know I'm down here. Here, chocolate milk.
It doesn't matter.
Go. Yes, it does matter. I have 1 hour out of the day that I do my meeting.
Chocolate's melting.
Anyway, alcohol and me, we have always been together. And so that's why I don't drink, you guys. Not because not because I think it's a bad thing or I think I'm better than anybody or anything like that. It's just because I'm an alcoholic. And so when I drink alcohol, my body doesn't respond to it like a normal person's. Like when I drink alcohol, I want to drink 20 more alcohols. It's like it just sets something off inside of me and it makes me so just like, no, I just don't care. And I have a 5-year-old little boy. And so can you imagine me drinking? Like I see all these moms who like drink wine and stuff. And like, I don't understand how they do that because like if I drink wine, my son would not get taken. I would not do anything. I would be passed out, you know? So that's why I don't drink. But, you know, if that's something that you do, I'm not judging you, okay? I'm not judging anybody that whatever you do and you're staying straight and you're able to live your life healthy and happy, you're always welcome here. You know, I do know some addicts that were straight junkies that can drink alcohol and have nothing, they have no consequences. Their life is just great. And then I know some addicts who can't drink alcohol and they're the same way I am. And they're just like anything they do, they cannot do it. You know what I'm saying? And I think it just comes down to like each person is so different, you know. That's why I know some people who try to get on Suboxone and they say that it doesn't work for them. And then I know some people that use Suboxone and it saves their life. Then I know some people who use methadone and it saved their life, and other people who got on it and said, hell no. And so like, that's why I think we all have to remember, like, everyone is so different. And I don't even have to do coke or meth. I could literally drink until the next day. See, hell no. Me, hillbilly family, me too. Me too. You know, and the way it is down here in the South, you guys, especially like when you're growing up, like I was in high school, I was a cheerleader and I was like really big into extracurricular activities like basketball, fast pitch softball. I cheered at all the games, right? And after every game here in the South, we would have keg parties, okay? And we would go out to a big field and make a big ass bonfire, and we would fucking get wasted. We would get drunk as skunks. And from the time I was 17 years old at keg parties out in the middle of nowhere, I was literally upside down doing handstands on keg parties with my shirt off and titties flapping out everywhere. So me and alcohol, we don't go together, because if I'm drinking, there's going to be titties everywhere. And it's embarrassing because alcohol makes me a hoe. So I don't drink. Now, I'm sure if I did, my husband might not mind it, but I can't do it. Titties! See, girl, it was 5101. I'm older than you. Heffa. 2720 was the one on Albert Pike. I'm talking about the one on Central Avenue. Ho! Look at me, Missa. I saw you saying that and commenting, and guess what? I was just like, girl, I'm just gonna ignore her because she don't know what she's talking about. Yes, girl, I loved fast pitch softball, you guys. I loved it. I played third base, and I played even with the pitcher. I know y'all know what I'm talking about. I was a beast on third base. Like, you could hit a line drive, and I was like, so anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's live stream. I had a good time chatting with you guys this evening. We have a lot of people in here tonight, so thanks for everybody that came to hang out and do the meeting with us, you guys. Like, for real, it's a fun time. We have a good time. A lot of the times we have people come on to share their stories. So if you're somebody who's just like watching and you're not commenting, tomorrow night, today's Thursday, right, guys? Tomorrow night's Friday, which is our MARA meeting. MARA is Medication Assisted Recovery Anonymous. Then Saturday, we're going to have a meeting, and we're going to have a bunch of junkies on here with me, and we're all going to be talking about the craziest shit we did when we were in active addiction. I'm hoping that all my friends that used to get high will come up here and hang out with me and tell some junkie story time so we can laugh and just be crazy together. Okay? That's going to happen on Saturday. I'm hoping I can get enough people to join in. Like, if you're somebody that's in recovery now, you're sober now, and you got some crazy stories and you want to come tell them, come hang out with us Saturday. Just be in the chat. I'm going to be dropping the link. You click it, you come up here for 10 minutes, tell your story, boom. Somebody else can come up, boom. Somebody else come up. We can just have a freaking crazy, we can have it'll be fun. Okay, we have a crazy active addiction story time, and it'll be all different people's stories and mine. Of course, I'll throw some of mine in there, but I think that would be really, really fun, and we could just like clown around and let loose. Of course, we'll bring it back to recover today, and grateful to be sober today, right? But shit, it's okay to laugh about that shit. You know, we're not in that situation anymore. So if you are somebody that wants to come up here, yeah, Indie Animal J, you can come up here and tell some of your crazy stories too. Everybody's welcome to participate. Okay, just let me know when you get into the chat Saturday night. Say I'm here to tell a story, and I'll put you all in order, and then we'll get it going. Okay. Then on Monday night we have I think his name is Dirk coming on, and he's going to share his story. He's got 12 years sober. So I got some, good recovery speakers lined up for the next week, and some fun stuff to do over the weekend. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope you guys will, get involved with me. So I'll see you guys tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, same place, right here with me. And I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're somebody who's utilizing maintenance and you want to join and come on tomorrow night and share your experience, text message me on that phone number, or email me, or hit me up tomorrow night in the meeting, and I'll bring you up here. Okay. All right, you guys. I love you. I'll see y'all tomorrow night. Thank you for everybody that came too. Like, this is an awesome turnout, and it makes my heart just like, I'm just overwhelmed seeing everybody here. So thank you for coming, and I really, really had a good time.